This is Stephen Welsh, President of the International Chiropractors Association, with the weekly update for the week of Monday, July 13th. I hope you enjoyed last week's message and thought about the concept of what happens when you attempt to fool Mother Nature. And I hope you had an opportunity to see the movie, 1986, The Act. Well, once again, this week's message will reassure you and your patients that the panic fueled by the major media outlets is not warranted. Now, first, we're going to review some excerpts from a video by Dr. Kelly Victory, who presents the truth about COVID-19. Then I will share an email from a student ICA member along with some remarkable insights. And finally, I will respond with an excerpt from my daily message from 2 months ago. You know, the one that opened with the classic scene from A Few Good Men. Well, let's begin with Dr. Victory.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kelly Victory. I'm a trauma and emergency physician with a specialty in disaster preparedness and response and the management of mass casualty. One of the greatest tragedies of the COVID-19 pandemic is that through it all, fueled by the constant fear and panic sowed by the 24/7 news cycle, by politicians, social media, and by people who are perhaps well-meaning but are simply misinformed, people have failed to trust their own immune systems and common sense. We know that COVID-19 is a mild disease in the vast majority of people. 85% of people who contract COVID-19 have few, if any, symptoms at all. Another 10% or so actually become ill the way you might with the flu and need to seek medical care. When it comes to risk from COVID-19, overall health is far more important than your chronologic age. In other words, the number of candles on your last birthday cake is less important than how active, fit, and healthy you are overall. The human body has a very advanced and highly adaptive immune system that keeps us safe by fending off a host of potential enemies on a daily basis. For viruses like COVID-19 that are relatively mild for the vast majority of people, herd immunity is sometimes the best approach. Therefore, one of the best things we can do is allow children to be out and about, knowing that if they do get exposed, they have virtually no risk of actually becoming ill, but they will develop antibodies that will protect them and others from future outbreaks by contributing to the overall immunity of the herd. We know the things that are most useful in assuring that our immune systems are able to operate at peak efficiency: healthy diet, adequate sleep, regular exercise, exposure to the sun, taking extra vitamin D and vitamin C and zinc, particularly during cold and flu season. The good news is that there's no need for a new normal. The old normal was perfectly safe. It's time to take our lives back and to trust our immune systems to do their jobs.
Now, I trust you found Dr. Victory's information both enlightening and encouraging. I would suggest that you review the entire 17-minute version, and it's one that you may want to share with your patients. Now, let me share some insights I received last week from a student ICA member, the student at a chiropractic college here in the United States. And I quote, "The whole COVID situation has taken away from my chiropractic education and has highlighted some of the thorns in the system. Many of my professors, many of which never practiced, have embraced everything from the WFC, that's the World Federation of Chiropractic, and promoted it in class without proper discussion." Now the student continues with this thought: if we are part of the same profession, how can we disagree on fundamental principles? How are we going to progress if we're fighting about what we do? Now, it would seem that the fighting being referred to is based upon a series of recent papers. But anyway, she continues, "I also have been keeping an eye on the ridiculous papers published in the Chiropractic and Manual Therapies Journal. Wow. In a minute, I will share with you the papers being referred to. Papers that are attempting to discredit the ICA. Papers in which the authors are actually rejecting the foundational premise that our profession was founded upon 125 years ago. Papers that imply that the scope of practice as defined in all of our 50 states are actually based upon pseudoscience. But let me continue with her most insightful comment. I obviously was not around during the Wilkes trial, but from what I have read, I see very many parallels. It seems to me that the same tactics are being used against the profession from within and from many countries, but mainly Canada. I would suggest that here in the US, we have a tendency to take the Wilkes case for granted. Not so much in the rest of the world, but that's a conversation for another day. Now let me share with you a couple of the recent papers that I believe the student was referring to. The first one was published on May 4th. The title tells the whole story. A united statement of the global chiropractic research community against the pseudoscientific claim that chiropractic care boosts immunity. Now, the second was published about a week later, and it is entitled, Chiropractic Students Call for Action Against Unsubstantiated Claims. And yes, the lead author is a student at a chiropractic college in Canada. Now, both of these papers submitted to the same journal in early April were actually in response to a white paper published by the ICA in March, just a couple of weeks earlier. Now, in future weeks, I will devote some time to a closer examination of the claims made in these papers, the tactics being used, as well as the implications to our profession if the political agenda of these authors are not refuted here in the United States. But for now, I will just repeat my message from almost 2 months ago. So today I throw down the double BS flag, and it is against all those researchers who bow down at the altar of the RCT and use those 6 most dangerous words to advance an agenda rather than to seek the truth. Under the disguise of promoting evidence-based medicine, these researchers are usually advancing an agenda. And in our case, the agenda is to contain chiropractic and to do it by limiting us to treating uncomplicated neck and back pain. And believe it or not, we even have chiropractic researchers who have fallen into that trap. You see, once you deny the truth about chiropractic, once you reject the premise upon which our profession was founded, you become nothing more than a glorified mechanic. And then you're no longer essential in the healthcare system in your country. Well, there you have it. And just don't take my word for it. I'm going to ask you to review an article recently published entitled, The Rise of Junk Science. You see, it's all about fake publications that are corrupting the world of research and influencing real news. I would suggest that the problem is not unique to our profession. Well, that is my update for this week. Meanwhile, if you are concerned about the future of this profession, I got some homework for you to do. It's a to-do list. 1, watch the movie at www.1986theact.com. 2, watch Dr. Victory's entire video on YouTube. 3, read The Rise of Junk Science. 4, and then read the 2 Canadian papers that we discussed. And finally, 5, share this message. We've got a lot of work to do. Well, that's my update for this week. Next week, I will return with another weekly update as we continue to provide you with accurate information about what we are collectively experiencing. Meanwhile, please reach out and connect with the ICA. We are here for you to help you help your patients, because they still do need that reassurance that there's no need for mass panic. And don't forget, you are truly their beacon of hope. And we will get through these challenging times, and we will do it by working together. Thank you.